Okay. Hello and welcome. I don't have a whole lot of time today, but I figured there was no time like the present to make a card, right? So I'm going to show you a card, and I have a couple different things we can work with, and I'm going to show you a couple ideas that I had, and I have created this. This is not my idea. It's a super simple layout, but I've made it my own by adding some different stuff to this. You can make this with virtually any design, theme, style whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share something with you. I'm going to grab one more thing really quickly, because you could also, I just grabbed Halloween, but you could use this for any theme. So this is a bundle that you can get right now in the, I guess we're calling it the winter holiday mini. It's really cute. So we have these hats. There probably is a stamp set that was very similar to this many moons ago, but this is really cute. It has a nice punch. You don't have to get the punch. You could probably easily cut these out, and you could also do the feet. But I like Halloween. They did not really come out with a specific Halloween paper this year. There is also the Adorable Scary Cute bundle, and I'll show you a card I have with that. That has this layering piece here. So you can see you'll cut out a window with trees. This will just cut out the negative. If you actually want to cut the window, you have to use both pieces. It has a cat. It has a haunted house. It has some bats. This little die here is perfect for all of these sentiments, as you will see later. This is also a bundle in the current catalog. So we might do an additional one with maybe one of these. I have a witch that I've already stamped and colored in. I'll show you another way we can do this. So I'm just going to show you a couple quick cards, and then we're going to finish one and we'll make another one. So this started with a recent card that we made for Stamp Club for a kind of Christmas in July theme. So I use the, I can't even think of the name of it, but it is the, I don't know if it's even called Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It's the train set. Probably would be happy or handy to have this stuff available, but when you go live the last minute, the Santa Express. So this paper is adorable. And then this down at the bottom is a gingham set, which unfortunately I'm pretty sure the only way you can really see it is in the back. It's called Gingham Cottage. It is 12 by 12. It has some great prints, very neutral. And then there is another, where is this one? 87. There's another bundle that's adorable. This is Celebrate Everything. This has fireworks paper, Christmas, I don't want to say Halloween. It has something you could use fireworks for 4th of July. There's also colored in, there's negative, there's positive, there's Christmas, there's leaves, there's flowers, there's very completely non to any holiday pattern. But this, if you have a party, you can buy this as one of your host rewards. It's $18. It is 12 by 12, 48 sheets. A lot of paper. It's really cool. So I made his Christmas papers. This also uses another of our specialty DSPs. And then this is the white flocked. And I want to show you what I did on the inside because I thought this was too cute. Actually, Christian helped me come up with this design. I put the negative piece inside here, and I actually used soft sea foam inside of shaded spruce. So you can see there's different patterns, kind of stuck with the same theme. And then I used some retired gems just because, why not? And I want to show you the other part that this is from is actually the basic borders dies. So when you cut a piece with the basics borders dies, you'll get a negative and a positive because it's double stitched, so both sides. So what I did was I cut a piece. So just looking at this 3/4 inch piece here, I cut it with the border die. So I cut 2, and then I used the bottom underneath, and then I used the top piece on the inside. So super cute. I did this one, which is kind of a little bit more scallopy. Then you have just the plain zigzags. I also have a card, which I have the video recorded. I was going to just publish it, but I thought I'll just do live really quickly. This is actually a cloud border, which is really cute. But this is a really nice border die set. And honestly, I wish I would have bought it before I did because it is very useful. But, you know, I guess better late than never. So I have a couple different Halloween versions. So this paper back here is actually black and white. This is from the Celebrate Everything, and then the other side is black with yellow dots. So I just added the purple to this using a blender brush and some Gorgeous Grape ink. So that's one, and that uses the Best Witches. I stamped her with Memento black ink, and then I colored her with my Stampin' Blends. This little black piece in the background, I just added a little bit of the favorite metallic mesh ribbon, and then I threw some of the gingham ribbon on top of it, and I kind of wrapped it around and put it up on dimensionals, you can see back there, and then the sentiment. So that's one. And then the other one I made, which is actually using the Scary Cute, which is adorable as well. This again uses the same top piece. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I think I have another piece of that left. Maybe I used it all. Nope, here it is. So the other side of the stars is just, it's plaid. It's not dots. My apologies. It's just a white and yellow plaid. So equally cute, but again, totally generic. You could use this for a spring card. So this one, I just used this little piece here. So you could see I could have gone with that, but I was trying to make it a little bit lighter. And then what I did is I die cut those layering pieces. So you can see those right here. It's a little tree set. So you have to die cut. This just puts the images in, and then this actually cuts it. I cut a piece of vellum behind it to kind of match, and I colored that with my, I believe it was my Dark Daffodil Delight onto that. You do have to let it have time to dry, and then I just glued some of the die cut bats, stamped this on Parakeet Party, and this one actually does have another layer back there, which all these didn't. So this has another layer, added a little bit of Wink of Stella to the bats, but super cute card. Obviously you're going to have to put a white panel in here because unless you're going to write in invisible ink and send a spooky message. But this is a really cute one as well. So I thought what we could do today is I'm going to show you one other thing. So I do have another witch, and I will take pictures of all those and put them on the blog once I get time. I do have another witch that I already colored. So what I did was I was sticking kind of with the green face as an ode to Wizard of Oz, and I used dark Granny Apple Green, and then I used light and dark Parakeet Party. Smoky Slate was the hat. Light and dark Highland Heather was for the band and the hair. And then I used a combination, believe it or not, of dark and light Calypso Coral and light Pumpkin Pie for her dress. So what I'm going to do with her is I'm going to cut her out with this will be a really simple one, with the Stylish Shapes. And let's see, I think this might be just, a little too small. So we're going to cut her out with this. That's the largest. It's a double stitched circle. So we're going to cut her out with that really quickly. And we'll put our other piece together. So this one will be a simple card. And then I thought of one other idea we could do using either the hat or the Scary Cute. So she's die cut there. I'm going to put this back. I'll keep this in case we need a little scrap for something. So we have some other pieces here. There's also a pumpkin-y background, which this one we could add orange to, or we could even trim this down so it'll be orange and black. I think I'm going to just do that. Yeah, I think I'm going to trim this down. So these pieces are super simple. This one measures, and it kind of depends on if you do or don't want to have, let me show you just the difference here. If you want to have straight up, you will do 4 by 3, 4 by 2. This one, since I did put that parakeet layer back there, I did 2 7/8. I just made it just a hair. I'm sorry, 3 7/8. No, 3 7/8 by 3, 3 7/8 by 2. I just made it just a hair slimmer, only because I was trying to save paper. So this should be 4 inches. Yep, so 4 inches by 2. And you could do 2 with this. So we'll put this one on the side. We have that. And I do need a strip for the center. And I think maybe for this one, but for the other one I used pumpkin pie, I think I'm going to use mango as my base just to brighten it up a little bit. And then I'm going to use a piece of, if I can locate it, Parakeet Party, just a little strip. I don't know how big this piece is. Oh, perfect. Little piece of parakeet party. And this really just needs to be half an inch. It doesn't really need to be any bigger. I'm going to do 3/4 just for the sake of it. Make sure it's 3/4 by 4. Perfect. And let's see what else. If you have paper that you're trying to get rid of, perfect time to use it because you could add a little bit of something to it. But what we're going to do is we're going to put this down. So I'm just going to use some liquid glue. Pop this down here. If you were able to jump on here and take some time out with me, I do thank you very much. I know this is very spur of the moment, which seems to be how my summer is going. And then I'm going to glue this piece onto the bottom. We are going to have a little gap in the middle, but remember, we're going to cover it. So, and I'm going to just do in the black just to kind of incorporate that more spooky Halloween feel. You know, I think I might add to this as I'm going to get a piece of Blackberry Bliss because it's a super dark purple. Pretty sure I just have a little scrap here. Yep. And I'm going to do one of those border dies I was telling you about. So I think I'm just going to do the zigzag because I don't want it to be pretty. I want it to be spooky. I'm going to just leave this whatever length it is because we'll just use the opposite piece, but I'm going to cut it to 4 inches. And I'm going to put this onto my big shot. Hi, Holly. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I want it. It's approximate. It doesn't have to be exact because I may use the other side for something or I may not. So I'm just going to pop this through my die cut machine. And it'll give like a little bit of something to the green. Okay, so just had a little piece of Post-it tape there. Just like that. All right. And I think what I'm going to do is we're going to stick it like that. Yeah, and then we'll add her. Now, she is a little bit big for this, only because I did do her as she is a bigger image as a die cut, or I should say, as a circle die cut versus a fussy cut. So it really just depends, but this will just be our test run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also do one other thing. When I made this card originally, I kind of just willy-nilly stuck this on here. I put some tape on. It didn't end up working. So the other thing I did, because this is kind of difficult to glue on, you see, because it has a lot of holes in it. So I came up with this idea instead. And let me see if I have a scrap piece of adhesive sheet. I used a lot of it the other day. So we just need a little piece of adhesive sheet. So this comes 6 by 12. It has the 3 strip separations. We don't even really need a piece that is quite that big. So I'm going to cut this to 6 just so I have a smaller piece to work with. And then I'm going to cut. I'm going to go like this. Let's see. Just do a 1/2 inch piece. It probably could be a little bit longer, but this should show you what I'm trying to show you for now. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to separate your layers of adhesive sheet. Oh, holy moly. Okay. And I'm going to put it up here. And I'm actually going to rip this piece just because for the sake of saving time. And I'm going to put the other end down here. Because it doesn't really have to be the whole strip. It's more just to kind of get a grip. So I'm just pressing this down. And then what I'm going to do is eyeball what I want here. So you do want enough that it's going to wrap. That's probably the biggest thing. And then wrap this way and this way. So I'm going to cut it, just kind of eyeball it right there. So then what you're going to do, and I want to grab, what did I do with you? No, I don't know where he is. If you grab your silicone mat, it will help you only because you can kind of use it in case you get any stickies. But I'm pulling off the release paper on that. And then I'm going to take the ends, take the ends and just fold them in like so. Now you don't want to pull when you fold because you don't want your paper to bow. So try to make sure, that's why you want to try to make sure you have enough leverage that it will hold it. And just fold these pieces in. This one probably doesn't have quite enough. If for some reason you miss the mark just slightly, another thing that I've done is grab a little piece of washi tape. And I'm going to stick this right here at the end because no one's going to see this. This is going to be on the underside. And you can kind of tape that in place. There you have that. Okay, so I'm going to stick this. And I really do need my daggone, here it is, right in front of me. I really do need my silicone mat because I want to put some liquid glue here on this to adhere this to it. So I'm just going to grab my liquid glue. Not a lot, just a teeny, didn't have that down, teeny line. Flip this over and kind of eyeball where you want it and press. And I'm just realizing this is the one I was going to put on the inside because this one was wider, but no worries, I'll just trim. So I have that pressing. Then I'm going to grab, and because I have two bigger portions here, I'm going to use larger dimensionals because it's also going to help to hold the agglomeration together a little bit. Oops, got a little ahead of myself. So I'm going to grab a couple dimensionals. 1, 2, I'm going to do 4, I think. Nah, might do 5. It's a bigger piece. And what that does is, in addition to giving dimension, it also just stitches those two pieces together just a little bit, okay? So we're going to take our dimensional backings off. Hi, Mary. Hi, Diana. Hi, Stacy. Don't worry, nobody's late. This was a very spur of the moment here. Okay, so we're going to just add that in. If you missed the beginning, go back and watch. I had some great ideas that are non-Halloween, which is how this started with Christmas in July card. But it's equally, you could do this for absolutely any season, which I think is the best part. All right, so then we're going to just add her on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put some dimensionals on the top and the bottom, just so she lines up just like so. So again, she is a little bit bigger. If you don't want her that way, you could certainly do the fussy cut and then it'll be a little bit smaller. But since I've already done one the other way, we'll do one like this. So we're going to do 2 at the top. And the only other thing you want to check before you actually put this down is just to make sure, because of the height of all this, that it's going to be flush and you're not going to have a rocking. So this is a little bit, I don't know if it's just because of the paper is pushing it up a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to double layer these. So I'm just putting a second dimensional on top. It really doesn't have to be on the exact spot. I'm kind of just eyeballing it, but you do want to press it just to make sure it sticks. So I'm just pressing a second one on. Going to pull the backing off. And then this should be perfectly fine. Okay, so we have that. So the only other thing we have to add to this is just a sentiment. So I do have a little scrap piece here that we used when we did the die cut. And I think I'm going to just stick with the same thing. I'm going to just do Best Witches. It's cute. It's easy to trim out because it's very square. Just going to give it just a second to dry. Now, we're going to do one more, and I'm going to stick with the same thing with the Halloween theme. I can show you a couple of the other papers if you would like, but my question is, do you want to do the witch's hat or do we want to do Scary Cute? Because Scary Cute is more of a silhouette stamp set for Halloween, and the hat is very, obviously, it's a hat, it's feet, that's kind of it. It's a hat, it's a feet. It's a hat and feet. It's the Wicked Witch of the West, which is, again, why my Wicked Witch here has a green face. My mom loved the Wicked Witch. I should say my mom loved, not the Wicked Witch. She loved The Wizard of Oz. I think it was one of her all-time favorite movies. So we watched it a lot. What I should do, and it's funny, because this is why I like crafting, because when I talk about things, it gives me ideas, but it would be kind of cool to do one with these two witches in particular, and one of them could be Glinda, and one of them could be the Wicked Witch of the West. So nobody tell anybody that idea, and I'll see if I can remember to do it. Not that I'm the only person that ever thinks of these things, but one other thing you could do to add a little bit more to this, because it's such a large die cut, is to add a little bit of the stars kind of sprinkled around. That'll be kind of cute. So here is this one, and you see we have our little die cut piece from this down here at the bottom. We did that in Blackberry Bliss. Gosh, I can't even tell you the last time I used that color. That's a doozy. But cute card. So we either have, for the final one, we're going to do Bewitching or Scary Cute. Bewitching does have a coordinating stamp. Scary Cute has dies, which I used on this card here. Little haunted house scene. Absolutely adorable. So we could either do some silhouetted trick-or-treaters on there, or we could do the Bewitching hat. So I'm going to give you guys just a minute. I am going to figure out. I think I'm going to use Parakeet Party for my base for this. And we will go from there. Hi, Kathy. Hope you are well. I'm just going to do a little scoring. We just finished moving Mom's acreage. Holy moly, that sounds like a lot. A lot of work. Mary says witch's hat. Mary, you were the first person I saw, so that's what we're doing. How you like that? How you like that? So I'm going to grab just a piece of white. I think I'm going to do this one. So I'm going to grab this again. Haven't used this one yet. And we're going to use a little bit. We're going to, ooh, you know what? This is going to be like a scrap cleanup card. How about that? Okay, so we have, where is this going? Let's see. If you're stamping this, we're going to do a little bit of trying to figure it out. I want to go at the bottom here so I can actually cut this out without wasting too much paper. And I'm going to cut this little piece from that little leftover Blackberry Bliss. Okay, so we have that. We have, what I tend to do with the punches is I kind of like give it a temporary squeeze just to see. I'm going to probably put this up, that way we'll have another layer. You could also punch out some stars if you wanted to. I'm sure the possibilities are endless. I am going to color in my hat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the cobwebs in, I'm going to do smoke, nope, gray granite is what I grabbed. And granted, this probably isn't fully dry yet, but since we're doing gray on black, I'm not going to be too particular. What am I on? Light or dark? I don't want to do light first. I want to do dark. So dark gray granite. And if for some reason you mess up a piece, it's a homemade card, right? I'll say it's a homemade card they're getting from you, because I am not the best person at actually mailing out the cards, which is a terrible, terrible habit. Also, the fact that I make cards and I never mail them isn't saying very much, is it? So we're just going to add this. I think I'm going to add a teeny bit of some sort of a dark green to this as well. I have my dark granny apple green. We'll make this be like a really creepy looking hat. Just a little bit in a couple sections. It's okay, buddy. Shh, shh, shh. I'll come over just a little bit again. Okay, and I'm going to do my hat. I'm going to do it probably in light basic black, because dark is, no, you know what? I'm not going to do black. I'm not going to do black. I'm going to do orange, because dark, the black are very, very difficult to work with because of how intense, I guess, the pigment is. So I'm going to show you what I did with the coral instead. So I'm going to use light and dark coral and then light pumpkin pie. So I'm going to add a little bit of dark. I know you're probably not used to seeing an orange witch's hat, but today, that's what we're getting. I'm just going to bring dark on the shaded side, which is my shaded side. I always seem to shade to the left. Anybody else have that that's the side that they tend to do? I'm going to add, this brush tip has seen better days, so I'm going to go with the bullet tip. Bullet tip with the light coral. Okay, and then I'm going to finalize it. I think this should work with the dark, I'm sorry, the light pumpkin pie. And then we'll have the purple band. And this is bleeding just a smidge, as I said, because my ink wasn't really 100% dry, but it's a witch hat, so we're going to say that that is artistic license. There's a little bit of smudging on that witch hat. All right, so again, you could also, I'm gonna bring in one more thing. You could also bring in a little bit of your dark pumpkin pie, which I'm gonna do. I think this tip is still pretty. Nope, that one's a stinker too. I have some of these that I've bought replacements, but because the ink still works, I'm just being a goofball and using the bullet tip instead of breaking out the new one. I'm like, well, if it has ink. So you're kind of adding like this extra layer of color on top. And I'm going to come back one final time with my light pumpkin pie. We had a doozy of a storm the other day. A lot of people around me lost a lot of trees. Some people still don't have power. It was fast and furious. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to take my liquid glue and I'm going to put a little bit here. And I believe this is facing up. Let me see. We'll just make this a little bit taller. And let me see. I'm going to make sure I'm lining this up correctly. Yep. And then I'm going to put this here. And over just a smidge. So I'm just giving that just a second with a good hard press. And I thought of one other thing I'm going to do really quickly. I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to take Dark Daffodil Delight, which you can see this tip is pretty nibby too. If you all happen to watch Tina Wardell, she is another fabulous demonstrator. I'm going to use a little bit of Mango, which is not available any longer, so hopefully you have that if you wanted it. But she actually shows you that there is a replacement way to do the nibs, so if that's something you're interested in. So I'm just going to take my punch. I'm going to punch out those 3 stars, and we'll use them for something for the hat as well. So I'm just going to put one here, and one here. And in the new catalog, also, if you missed it, Stampin' Up! Has come out with Finally. They brought back the embossing buddy, so maybe you've been waiting and you need one. You could get it. I'm going to put this big one up top. Maybe this looks more like a wizard hat, but I don't know. You know what? You never know, right? So we have that. But they also have reverse tweezers, a little tray, and a little brush, but I have most of those things already. So I'm not going to do anything else with this right now. I'm just going to set this on the side, so I hopefully remember to clean it. So let's see what we have left. We have some different papers. What do we have here? We have the stars. Let's do the stars. And I'm going to do this plaid, and I'll show you what I did with adding the color. Okay, so we have this. This is 4 inches. Should be 4 inches, correct? Yep. So we're going to do 4 by 3. All right, that's the top piece. The underneath piece, this is already trimmed because I trimmed a lot out last night when I was crafting at 11 o'clock. This is 4 by 2. So we have those 2. And let me see how big this is before I cut it. Yeah, we're going to just fiddle a little 1/2 inch piece out of that. And I feel like we need just a little something else. Hold the phone. So here's another piece. This is the pumpkin. The pumpkin, this just has stripes, which kind of doesn't really, stripes and purple and all that doesn't really coordinate. So I think I might go with something different. I'm just trying to figure out what would be cute. Let's see, we have some glimmer paper, but that's red and white. I don't know how that would really necessarily look. Oh, here's a cute one. We have this in color glimmer paper, and it is ombre. I'm going to pull a piece of this out and add to it. So I'm just going to grab, this 6x6. It comes one in every color, which is adorable. Again, when you're cutting glitter, glimmer, any kind of paper that has this stuff on it, it is a little bit hard on your blade, so go upside down. So I'm just going to cut out a little piece that's about a 1/2 inch. That's good enough. And by 4. Sorry about that. Hold on. You know, you put it on Do Not Disturb and it still is goofy, so I don't really know why. Sorry about that. I'm going to pop this down. Oops. And then, I didn't trim this one, did I? Nope. That's okay. We'll trim it when we get there. I'm going to put this. You know what? I'm going to put the glue on the back of this because this has that little bit of a slippery surface. And right like that. Okay. That, I'm going to just give this a little trim. Okay. And I'm going to take this before we're done. So I used my blender brush. This probably still has some ink on it because it does take a little bit for them to dry. I did rinse some of them out the other day, which kind of cleared out some of the backed up ink. You don't have to do that, but I find that you have a little bit less carryover ink depending on what color you're using. So I'm not going to make it fully dark. Just kind of hit a couple ends. That looks pretty good. I almost like having the ununiformity of it. I think looks nicer. And then we're going to put some adhesive on here. Pop this down at the bottom. Just kind of looking to make sure that it's evenly centered. I know I still have my crease here, and I tend to be one of those people that does things that way, so that just kind of depends on what you want to do. Which way do we want to go? Go green. Now I'm going to keep the purple on the bottom. Now, because this is 2 layers glued together, you can glue this down. It's not going to bother anything. It just really depends on what you want to do. I am going to just glue it down because I've done a lot of them with dimensionals just to see what one looks like without. And kind of just trying to make sure that it looks visually straight for the most part. And then we're going to put this on some, this one is going to get dimensionals. And let me see where I put them. Here we go. So we have some dimensionals here. Just grab a couple. It doesn't need to be a lot. That's probably plenty. And then the only other thing we're going to add is a sentiment. And just like so. So there's that. I'm going to take this and fold it. I don't know why I tend to do that after the fact. It's probably just, I'm guessing, habit. So you can fold whenever you're ready to. But these papers are so much fun. There's lots of stuff to do with those. Again, those are the Celebrate Everything DSP pack. That is actually a host part. So you have to remember, those things are not things that you'll be able to buy once the holiday catalog is gone. So if that's something you want to get, you definitely want to get it sooner rather than later. And I'm going to use this same little scrap piece again here. And I'm going to do, if you've got it, haunt it. And the way I do this is sometimes if I have little pieces of paper like this where nothing kind of really totally matches up, what I do usually is I will stamp it more than once. So I'm just going to use this. So here's one. And I'm going to stamp this upside down so I can cut both of those out. So I'm just going to give this just a minute to dry before I start snipping. So I'm going to just start spreading these out. If you guys enjoyed this video today, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up. If you have a friend who you think would love to see this video, please share it with them. Multiple thems would be wonderful. If you have lots of people that haven't seen these videos, we're just going to add our sentiment to this last one. But I think that these are really a super simple layout to do. So what I'm doing is I have two different things. So I'm just going to trim this one to the bottom. Okay. And I'm going to trim it like this. So we have one. Oops, we've got the part. And then we're going to use the haunted on the other one. So that's why it doesn't really matter if it was crooked or not. And if you have this, you could also use that really fun die cut that goes with it. So just kind of depends on what you want to do. And I'm going to do one more thing just because I'm always too much. I'm just going to take my little purple that I have left. I'm just lightly tapping just to add just a little bit of color to it. There you go. And then I'm also going to do this with my reverse tweezers because it's easier to do the glue without getting it all over your fingers. 1 and 2. But I would love for you to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed and you have your notifications turned on so when I go live, it will notify you and you won't have to wait and find out later on. I thank you all so very much for joining me on this random Thursday 2:30 live. Lots of different layouts for this. I plan on making plenty of other cards. And even on this one, I just want to show you something. I kind of goofed this up because I only had a part of a piece of paper left. And I was like, well, let me see. So I just cut it and trimmed off the bottom. So it could have gone trimmed a little bit closer to that, but you don't have to have every single one the same. You can change up little embellishments. So there are lots of other things I have, like little stars that I probably haven't used from past Halloweens or stuff. Those things you can add to the cards, just bling it up. I have so many retired products that I use a lot of times with classes, and I just tell people, go wild, because I have so much stuff to use that you might as well get rid of it. You could add lots of little embellishments to all of these, and they'll be super adorable. So thank you all so very much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a great weekend coming up. Thank you very much for stopping in, saying hi, and I hope to see you guys again real soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.